welcome back to Sheikh Mohammed Al Thani, Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Qatar. I think you have seen him a lot on CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera in the last weeks. And again, big thank you and congratulations on the ceasefire in Gaza and also on the hostage deal, where I know you have worked so extremely hard, and it's making a huge difference. And I think what we're all thinking about now, what are the next steps? What did you agree as the next steps?
Well, thank you very much, Borge, for having me again here in Davos, but twice this year. So I hope that I don't get your audience bored seeing me. And look, first of all, you know, what we have achieved in the last few days in putting an end for this war for the last 15 months, or at least, you know, a starting of an end, hopefully, is really thanks to the partnership that we have with mediators, US, Egypt, and it was really a teamwork result, and that's something that we have seen and we have witnessed, especially in the last few days of the deal. To get it across the finish line, we have seen also the critical role that President Trump administration has played in that, and really thanks to his special envoy to the Middle East, we work together very closely in making this happen. And also, I would like to thank the region that supported us throughout the effort and kept, you know, doing everything it can in order to ensure that the international community is aware about what's going on and trying to stop it by all means. Now, yes, we are hopeful. We are happy to see the first day of the ceasefire is starting. We are happy to see that people of Gaza are starting to get relief. And we are also happy for the hostages to see them back to their families. And we hope that this will sustain, will continue, will stand, will hold up to the end, and to move to phase 2 and to phase 3 and to the permanent ceasefire, hopefully. Now, you know, a lot of questions are raised. How can we ensure that this sustains, and how can we ensure that this is implemented? I would say, like, the first thing that we should look at, that the parties of the agreement, they should adhere to what they have committed to. The guarantor and the mediators will do everything in our hands in order to ensure that it's fully implemented. We have set mechanisms in place to ensure that if there is anything violated in the agreement, to be addressed at a very early stage and not to have the agreement collapsing or deteriorating. Now, there is still a long way to go. There are still negotiations will continue for phase 2. It won't be an easy negotiations, but I hope it's not as difficult as what we have been through. Just, you know, calculating the days since the collapse of the first ceasefire that we have brokered back in November in 2023, it was 411 days of ups and downs, continuous negotiations. And what's really, you know, when we look at and reflect on what we have achieved in the last few days, we felt really sorry for all the time that we wasted in these negotiations, while we know that at the end of the day, it will be only resolved around the negotiating table. And we have seen that the framework that we have agreed on in December is the one that's been realized a couple of days ago. And that's December. I'm not talking about December 24. I'm talking about December 23. It means there are just a year of negotiating details and honestly some meaningless things compared to the lives of the people that they have lost. So we are hopeful that now the calculations will be different. and everyone will feel responsible to put an end for this. And we would like really to talk about the future and to be more forward-looking. And this is actually what happened since October 7th was a wake-up call for the region, that also we need to address the issue of the Palestinians, and we have seen a momentum build around the world about the two-state solution. That's been absent, unfortunately, for a very long time. And we hope that we can build on that momentum and achieve this, and having a peaceful region where all people living side by side peacefully in a secure and safe environment. And that's what we are aspiring for, what we are trying to do and to contribute our best in order to ensure that there is a stability in this region for the stability of our own people, whether it's in Qatar or in the GCC or in the extended region.
We had the inaugural address of President Trump yesterday. We know Trump 1.0 was the Abraham's Accord. Do you think that Trump 2.0 will also be more open for working for a two-state solution?
We are hopeful, actually, and we have seen, as I mentioned, the critical role that they have played in the last few days of the negotiations has showed us that there is a strong leadership and determination to find solutions. And basically, in order to have solutions happening and implemented, you need to listen to all sides, and you need to address the concerns. And you need to make sure that you are pushing all sides even to accept things that maybe they don't want to accept it because of, short-term political goals that will not serve the people and the people's stability.
When you look at Gaza today, approximately 80% of the infrastructure is destroyed. So it will cost a lot, to put it mildly, to rebuild this. One thing is the immediate humanitarian support that is needed, as food, water, and also shelter. But then to reconstruct that, and I think for reconstruction, there also has to be a framework there. So there is some guarantees that it will not be destroyed for the fourth time, because I think now it's at least it's been rebuilt twice. So we are now at the third bit, like how you count. But will you think the ceasefire has in it also a path towards this, so international donors will be available?
Well, it's included in the agreement that that phase 2 should address the reconstruction. Phase 1 is just addressing the instant needs for the people to rebuild the hospitals, to rebuild bakeries, and the basic requirements for that, providing a supply line for the people over there. But phase 2 should include the reconstruction. And what you have mentioned about 80% of Gaza is destroyed, we believe entire Gaza has been destroyed. It's not just 80%. Looking at the images, and I've mentioned that whatever is broadcasted in the media never made justice for and doesn't represent the reality. The reality is much worse than this, and we will see an uglier images now after the war stopped. There are dozens or hundreds or maybe thousands of people, their bodies, they are still under the rubble, and they didn't find out what are the real number. No one knows the significance of the destruction over there. An entire neighborhood's been wiped out, and looking at satellite images even, it's something horrific when you look at it and you see this small strip that is very highly dense in population being destroyed to that level. Now, when it comes to reconstructions, we believe that, all countries will step up, will try to help the people, and will never punish the people for these kind of things. But also, we cannot have an investment where we are investing in the reconstruction every time, and something happen and it's just get destroyed, and we do it again. That's why I'm saying that there is now a huge requirement and a huge pressure on all of us to look at sustainable solutions where we can sustain peace, where we can also give assurances and comfort for countries to understand that those investments will not go for waste.
And there needs then to be a Palestinian leadership in Gaza that will be able to govern, because we know seeing also challenges on upholding order, and also there is lootings going on and all this. So one possibility then would be that the PA and the leadership under Abu Mazen in the West Bank will then take on a leadership in Gaza. But that's not without its problems either, because we know there is not the best relationship between, of course, Hamas and PLO and Fatah. How do you see this?
Well, look, first of all, when we look at this, the Palestinian people and the Palestinian government, the leadership over there, they are no less than any other country. And I believe that this question needs to be asked to them, how they can reconcile themselves and, to push for a Palestinian leadership that can take over the situation in Gaza. And this is a decision will be made only by the Palestinian. And we have seen and we have heard a lot of countries coming together trying to talk about the day after. This day after cannot happen without Palestinians in it, and Palestinians agree on that shape and how it will look like. Now, we hope that the PA will find an arrangement, they will need to find an arrangement with everyone. It's not only, I'm not talking about Hamas here, but I'm talking about all factions of the Palestinians, that there should be a government that represent everybody, that's be a professional government that take care of the situation, the reconstruction in Gaza, but also this shouldn't happen in isolation from the West Bank, and both of them should be one unit under one governance. That's what we have to push for and we have to support. And I believe if there is a determination, I think we can get there very, very, very soon.
And then there is new concerns about the stability of the government in Ramallah, in the PA. We know that there has been uprisings, there has been conflicts, and there's real speculations now that the security arrangement held up by the PA is very, very vulnerable. Is that something that is that according to what you're getting as information too, and how will this play out? That would be now on top of what has been we're seeing in Gaza, extremely worrisome.
Well, looking at the situation in the West Bank and the instability that it's there, yes, it's there, it's happening, and unfortunately, there is. We see all these, events that taking place, especially in the last few months. But also, we need to look at the picture at its entirety, and looking at what is leading us to this kind of chaos over there and instability in the West Bank. And we have seen that there are settlers who are committing crimes against the Palestinians, and they are just, they can go freely there, and they've never been prosecuted. And we have seen that this is just increasing the hate and increasing the provocation for the Palestinian people. It's not justifying a reaction to harm anyone, but also Palestinian people needs to be protected, and they have the right to be protected. And any Palestinian government that will take over, whether it's in the West Bank and Gaza, if they will be hindered and handcuffed and undermined by the Israelis, it will never work this way. That's why we've been talking about sustainable solution that can create peace, gives the Palestinians their right, give the security assurances and the guarantees for the Israelis. And we wanted to see a region where the Israelis and the Palestinians living side by side peacefully.
We also have to look at the developments that are moving in the right direction. I started with thanking you for the Gaza ceasefire being instrumental there. I know how hard you have worked on this, and also the ceasefire and the hostages. In the last months, we also have seen big changes in the rest or in the Levant, with new president in Lebanon, Hezbollah being weakened, Hamas is weakened also in Gaza, and then we have a new leadership in Damascus. And I think you were just visiting in Damascus before you came here, and I think Qatar and you yourself have been very clear on former President Assad. I don't think you had started any kind of rapprochement there. So I guess you also are someone that the new government in Damascus is listening to. So what is your take? Are you cautiously optimistic that there will be an inclusive approach and not the winner takes it all?
Well, I believe that cautious optimism, you see it around the region right now, and as I maybe mentioned in the previous panel, that unfortunately we had a very bad year in the Middle East, with wars and destruction and innocent people being killed. And, we had some good starts for 25. Lebanon got their president after 2 years. Syria, we have seen a collapse of a brutal regime that killed and displaced his own people. And look, us in Qatar, we took that stand based on our principles that we cannot accept reintegrating war criminal and just, having him, get this kind of immunity from what he did and the crimes he committed. And we have seen that if we will accept such a thing once, it will set precedent for any leader to just go around and to kill his own people without being held accountable. We have seen this collapse that happened for the regime in Syria in days. And, as Lenin said, that there are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happens. And this is what happened exactly in Syria. And
in Lebanon too, you would include, or not so?
Well, I believe Syria, this is like more applicable to them than anyone else because of the nature of the conflict over there.
You think it started in Lebanon, and what happened in Lebanon with Hezbollah was also what led to the collapse of Assad in Syria?
If you ask me what's personally, I think Gaza started everything.
Yeah.
And that's basically, the nature of the region that's very interconnected. And when you look at the development now in Syria and engaging with the new leadership over there and the new administration in Syria, we should be cautiously optimistic because no one is knowing them. And we are engaging with them for the first time. We've been listening and we've been seeing some of, very right steps. Also, we should set the expectations right for them. They came to power in days that no one was expecting. And things will need time to stabilize, and they need to be enabled to help to stabilize things. We need to help and preserve the state institutions. Yes, there is, no like strong institutions in the states, but there are some skeletons over there that we need to help to preserve and to protect and to help them to provide the basic services and need for their own people, and to help them within the international community to start to engage in the right way, and to be also, create a path for them moving forward to stabilize Syria. And I don't think there is any disagreement around the world about the goal that we need in Syria. We need to see Syria a safe country, a stable country, and we need this to work. The failure in Syria shouldn't be an option for anyone, nor any other country, because we have seen the chaos, what's created for us in the region. And we can just imagine if things go south in the current situation in Syria, it might be much worse than what we have seen in the last 13 years. Now, moving forward, about inclusiveness, about having a representative government, that's what we all want to see happening in Syria. And the current administration over there in Syria and meeting with the Shara, we've been hearing all the right things, and they are open to this. They are engaging with everyone right now, and I believe we should give them the space and the time to engage with everyone and to reach the understanding how this representation will happen and how they are going to move forward. And all of us, we would like to see a roadmap that is clear for the path forward for us as countries in the region, to also that will help us to help them in moving in the right direction, but also for the international community to feel comfortable engaging and start investing in Syria. And I believe the potential in Syria and the region will be huge, will be significant. We will see development that's happening in a speed where we never expected if things goes in the right direction and things get stable. The Syrian people are outstanding people. They are innovative. They create opportunities out of nothing. We have seen them around the world. We have seen the contribution that they have contributed to different countries that they came as refugees to those countries. In some countries, they started as refugees that needs help. They became employers, main employers for these countries' citizens. So there is a huge potential in the Syrian people that we see great opportunities ahead of us. It's just, we need to help them, and we need to avoid any spoilers to undermine this happy moment for the Syrian people.
And incentivize it, I guess, also the right reforms. And I think we've already seen 200,000 Syrians returning also to Syria. Just coming back to the bigger picture of the region, we were very close to a full-fledged war between Israel and Iran a few months ago. How do you see this now, also with the new president in the US? Trump was not in favor of the JSPOA, so he killed that one last time he was president. But at the same time, he also saying that he wants peace, no wars. How worried are you about a full-fledged war between Israel and Iran? Is it now unlikely, but with huge consequences if it happens, or is that wishful thinking?
I think that looking, at what happened in the last year, any attack on any country in the region, whether it's Iran or in Israel, is just increasing the likelihood and the probability for a full-fledged war. And we should avoid this and prevent this from happening. Now, we have been through multiple events where things were heated up, and It got diffused. I hope that we diffuse this completely now. Now, what's happening in Gaza and the ceasefire is a positive development that's happened for the region that we need to build on it. Now, from our perspective as state of Qatar, we are a small country. We are
punching above your weight, huh?
Not about, depends what scale you are using for our weight. Anyway, but you know, we are situated in a region that it's unfortunately it's not. Thankfully we have a stable GCC, but when you look at the extended region, it's unstable, it's turbulent, and there are ancient wars, proxies, state actors, non-state actors. Our whole foreign policy stands for mediation, facilitation, and keeping open communication with everyone to bring peace through mediation, not through wars. And that's been enshrined in our constitution, and that's what we have built throughout years in building a trust and confidence within the countries that we are dealing with. Now, when you ask me, or if the US, the new administration is asking us about our opinion on this, we see that the only way forward is a diplomatic solution, that they should come to a negotiating table, try to find a deal that is addressing the concerns of everyone, including the concerns of the region. I'm a neighboring country to Iran, and I don't want to see a nuclear race happening in the region. So it's in our interest, before anyone, to have a nuclear-free region. Now, this doesn't and shouldn't prevent any country from being able to pursue a peaceful path for nuclear energy and all those means. But also, it needs leadership from the region, that we see that all the countries in the GCC at least coming together, that we are looking for a peaceful path, for a solution with the nuclear issue in Iran, and we are advocating for this with the US administration. And look, President Trump, he's someone who been declaring many times he wants to end wars, not to start one. And definitely he would prefer to have a deal with, and they've been saying this to us all the time before, when we met before the elections, that was his position. After the election, in the different engagements with his team, this is the choice, and the strategic choice for them is to find a solution, not to escalate the situation. And if this is the case, they will definitely find a strong partner within Qatar and the GCC countries.
Well, thank you, and I think you, based on that, will be kept quite busy also in the 4 years to come. You have the Houthi situation that has to be solved. I think the rapprochement potentially with Iran is also something that will need a lot of work. The ballistic missile capacity is still very strong. The GCC countries don't have any Iron Dome, at least not at the level of the Israelis. I know we're getting very close to the end, but short question and short answer. Do you think the situation with Hezbollah, Hamas, and with Assad has changed a bit of the approach in Tehran?
Well, I don't think that, this is something for me to comment on. I'm someone who is trying to bring peace to the region, someone who is trying to keep open communication channel with everyone, and I hope to see a stable region and prosperous future for our people. It's not our mistake. We are born in a region that sometimes likes the world attention, so they create a lot of problems.
But thank you for a very wise answer from future peace and reconciliation facilitator. Thank you so much, Sheikh Mohammed, for joining us. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for also your friendship. I think we will see more from you in the years to come. So thank you so much for
Thank you
joining
very
us.
much.
you.